I will never forget the day Nnenna gave birth. It wasn't the child itself that shocked us, it was what the child looked like. It happened in our village of Obinogo, deep in the heart of Igbo land, long before roads were tarred and before the white man's medicine came. Nnenna was a respected woman, known for her kindness and wisdom. She had been married to Ikenna for almost 10 years, yet the gods had not blessed them with children. People talked about it, but Nnenna never let it bother her. She kept her head high and trusted in the spirits. Then, one night, everything changed. It was around midnight when we heard her wail. The sound sliced through the quiet night like a sharp knife. I was one of the women who ran to her hut, ready to help with the birth. Her body had swollen larger than any woman we'd seen before. We all thought it was twins. But when the child came out, it wasn't what anyone expected. The baby was no bigger than a goat's leg. His skin was a deep shade of brown, like baked clay, and his limbs were short and bent at strange angles. His head was oversized, and his eyes, those eyes, were wide open, like he had seen too much of the world already. "He's a dwarf," one of the older women whispered in horror, stepping back. But it wasn't just that. There was something different about him. His eyes had a gleam that unsettled even the bravest of us. It felt like the child was watching us, not as a baby, but as something more. The midwife, Adis, was the first to recover and wrapped him in cloth, but her hands shook. Nnenna was exhausted, barely able to speak, but when she saw her son, she smiled. "My child," she whispered, as if nothing was wrong. The villagers, however, were afraid. Rumors spread quickly, and within hours, everyone was talking about the strange birth. Some said the child was an abomination, born from an evil spirit. Others said Nnenna must have offended the gods. A few, mostly the elders, believed it was a sign, though they couldn't agree on what it meant. As the days passed, the boy, who they named Obi, didn't grow like other children. His body remained small, and he rarely cried. He just watched. People kept their distance from him, except for Nnenna, who loved him fiercely. I would often catch her talking to him in low whispers, like she was having a conversation with an adult. One night, after several months had passed, something strange happened. The palm wine tapper, Ogbu, claimed he saw Obi in the forest, walking and talking with a group of spirits under the light of the moon. He was laughing with them, Ogbu said, his face pale with fear. They were dancing around him like he was their leader. At first, no one believed Ogbuefi. He was known to drink too much of his own wine. But then, more people started to see strange things, footprints too small for a man, but too large for an animal, appearing near the riverbanks at dawn. Crops in the village began to wither, and people whispered that the spirits were angry. The elders called for a meeting, and it was decided that the boy should be taken to the shrine for the chief priest to consult the gods. Nnenna resisted, crying and pleading for them to leave her son alone, but the decision was made. They took Obi to the shrine at night. What happened at the shrine was never fully spoken of, but the chief priest returned with eyes wide with fear. He said Obi wasn't just a child, he was a spirit born into flesh. A messenger from the other world. He does not belong to us, the priest warned. We must return him to the gods before it is too late. Nnenna refused, of course. She held on to her son with all the strength she had. But one morning, a few days later, she woke up to find Obi gone. No one saw him leave. No one saw where he went. The boy simply vanished, leaving no trace behind. Nnenna was never the same after that. She stopped talking, stopped eating, and within a month, she too was gone, carried away by grief. To this day, no one knows what Obi truly was. Some say he was a punishment for sins we do not know. Others believe he was a gift from the gods that we fail to understand. But if you walk by the river at night, sometimes you hear laughter, soft and distant, and you see footprints, small but clear, leading into the water before they disappear.